It is 3 o'clock in the morning. The whole house is dark and silent, and then it starts. Scratch, scratch, scratch. That relentless thumping of a back leg against the floor, over and over, until you are wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Your dog is scratching all night long, and I know exactly why. If you are lying there right now, exhausted, listening to your best friend tear at their own skin, I want you to hear me clearly. Your dog scratches all night for one specific reason, and it is almost never the reason you have been told. And once you understand what it truly is, you can start fixing it tonight with things already sitting in your kitchen, without another expensive vet bill for pills that only work for a week. If you saw the thumbnail of this video, you saw the promise, and I am going to keep it. I know how heartbreaking it is to watch your dog suffer, and I know how frustrating it is to spend $80 on a tiny bottle of chemical drops, or hundreds of dollars, on allergy pills and steroid shots that mask the itch for a few weeks before it comes roaring back even worse than before. But what if I told you that the real cause of that midnight scratching is not the grass in your yard and not the pollen in the air? What if the reason is hiding somewhere completely different, and the answer is sitting right now inside your pantry and your refrigerator? Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am a practicing veterinarian, and in my clinic, nighttime itching and scratching is one of the single most common problems that pet parents beg me to solve. And I hear the same heartbreaking story almost every single day. They have tried everything. They have spent a fortune, and the dog is still miserable. We are taught in conventional medicine to simply suppress the itch, to put a chemical drop on the neck and hand out a pill that shuts down the immune system. Before we go one step further, if you want more videos like this that actually get to the root of what is hurting your dog, take 1 second right now to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss one. But as a holistic leaning vet, I believe in something different. I believe in finding the root cause and fixing it from the inside out. Now grab a notebook, because today we are doing a complete masterclass. I am going to reveal the one real reason your dog scratches all night. I am going to show you exactly why the pills and the drops keep failing you. And then I am going to give you a simple, cheap, practical action plan to calm that skin down tonight and rebuild it so the scratching finally stops. Let's begin. Let's start with the big myth, because this is where almost every pet parent gets trapped. When a dog comes in scratching all night, the standard response is to call it environmental allergies and reach for an immunosuppressant pill or an injection. Now, for a small number of dogs with severe genetic skin disease, those drugs truly are a miracle. They flip off the itch signal in the brain. But here's the problem nobody explains to you. They do not cure anything. They are a band-aid. Picture the check engine light on your car. Giving your dog an allergy pill is like putting a piece of black tape over that light. Sure, you cannot see it glowing anymore, and the dog stops scratching for a little while, but the engine underneath is still broken. The moment that pill wears off, the tape peels away and the itching comes back 10 times worse than before. That is the cycle you are trapped in. And it is not your fault. Nobody ever showed you what was actually driving the fire underneath. So if it is not simply the grass and the pollen, what is the real reason your dog scratches all night? Let me show you. I want you to do something a little strange right now. Pause this video, walk over to your dog, pick up one of their paws and smell it. Go ahead. Does it smell like corn chips? Does it have that faint, musty old cheese, Frito smell? If it does, I need you to pay very close attention because that smell is not just normal dog smell. That is the unmistakable scent of a yeast overgrowth. Specifically a yeast called Malassezia. This is the real reason so many dogs scratch all night. Yeast is a living organism and it thrives in warm, damp, dark places, between the toes, deep in the ears, in the armpits, and in the folds of the skin. When that yeast overgrows, it becomes maddeningly, intensely itchy. It burns and it stings and it drives your dog absolutely out of their mind, especially at night when they are lying still with nothing to distract them. So they scratch, they chew, and they lick. And here's the vicious trap. A dog's tongue is warm and wet, so every time they lick that itchy spot, they are feeding the exact yeast that is causing the problem. And listen, if what you are hearing so far is finally starting to make sense, do this channel a quick favor and tap that like button. It tells the algorithm to show this to more exhausted pet parents just like you. The yeast makes them itch, the itching feeds the yeast, and the whole thing spirals night after night after night. This is precisely why your allergy pills are not working. An allergy pill quiets the immune system's overreaction, but it does absolutely nothing to kill a living fungus growing on your dog's skin. In fact, because steroids and immune-suppressing drugs lower your dog's natural defenses, they can actually let that yeast grow stronger and spread further, into the ears, the belly, and the paws. You are not treating the wrong symptom. You are treating the wrong disease entirely. Let me tell you about a real case because it might sound exactly like yours. A while back, an owner brought me a sweet golden doodle who had been on allergy medication for nearly 2 years. The dog scratched every single night. The fur between his toes was stained a rusty red-brown from constant licking, and he kept shaking his head because his ears were full of dark, smelly wax. The owner was in tears in my exam room, convinced her dog was hopelessly allergic to the grass in her own backyard, and she was talking about tearing up her whole lawn. So I gently took a swab from between his toes, put it under the microscope, and turned the screen so she could see. It was a sea of yeast. That dog was not allergic to her yard at all. He had a systemic yeast overgrowth that no allergy pill on earth was ever going to cure, because it was never designed to. We changed the plan, we went after the yeast in the gut, and within a few weeks that same dog was sleeping through the night for the first time in 2 years. I tell you that story not to scare you, but to give you hope, because if we could turn that around, you can too. So where does this yeast come from? Why does your dog have it while the dog down the street seems perfectly fine? To answer that, we have to stop looking at the skin and we have to look inside the food bowl. Because yeast, like every living thing, needs food to survive and multiply. And do you know what yeast's absolute favorite food in the entire world is? Sugar. Now you are probably thinking, but I would never feed my dog sugar. And you are right, you would never pour sugar in their bowl. But here's the veterinary nutrition secret that pet food companies do not want you thinking about. To manufacture that dry, crunchy kibble, they have to bind it together with starchy carbohydrates. Corn, wheat, rice, potato, peas, tapioca. Even the grain-free bags are loaded with carbs from potatoes and legumes. And when your dog eats that high-carbohydrate kibble, their body breaks all those starches down into glucose, which is simply sugar. So without ever meaning to, you may be feeding your dog a high-sugar diet every single day. The yeast in their gut feasts on it, multiplies out of control, and the whole body becomes an all-you-can-eat buffet for fungus. This is where it all comes together, and this is the part I really need you to understand. So stay with me. When the gut is overrun with too many carbs and too much yeast, the delicate lining of the intestines becomes inflamed and irritated. Doctors call this a leaky gut. The barrier that is supposed to keep things inside the digestive tract starts letting microscopic particles and yeast byproducts slip through into the bloodstream. The immune system sees these invaders, panics, and switches into a permanent state of high alert. And a body stuck on high alert starts wildly overreacting to totally harmless things, like pollen and dust and grass. That overreaction shows up as red, inflamed, unbearably itchy skin. So the nighttime scratching is not the disease at all. The scratching is just the smoke. The fire is burning down in the gut, and this is exactly why it is so much worse at night. During the day, your dog is distracted, walking, sniffing, playing, eating, so the itch fades into the background. But the moment the house goes quiet and they lie down to sleep, there is nothing left to distract that irritated nervous system, and every bit of that inflammation comes rushing to the surface. That is why the scratching that seemed mild at dinner turns into that relentless 3 a.m, thumping that wakes the whole house. This is why spraying something on the paws never solves it, and why you cannot fix an inside problem from the outside alone. But now that you understand the real cause, I promise you, you can actually do something about it. Fixing this is a 2-part job. First, we put out the fire on the skin tonight to give your dog immediate relief. If this is the moment it all clicks for you, take a second and hit subscribe with the notification bell turned on, because the next videos build directly on what you are learning right now. Then we heal things from the inside so the scratching does not come charging back next month. Let's start with tonight. The very first thing we do is soothe that hot, angry, inflamed skin. If your dog has bright red, raw, weeping patches from chewing, what we call hot spots, I want you to go into your kitchen and grab organic, cold-pressed, unrefined coconut oil. Coconut oil is packed with something called lauric acid, which is a wonderful natural antibacterial and antifungal. Take a small scoop of the solid oil on your fingers and gently massage it right onto the irritated skin. It instantly cools and calms the itch. It forms a protective barrier, and it fights the surface yeast and bacteria feeding the redness. And if your dog licks it off, that is perfectly fine, because it is completely safe and even nourishing for them. Think of it as a little first aid kit you already own. It does 3 jobs at once. It cools the burning, it seals the raw skin so dirt and more bacteria cannot get in, and it goes to work on the yeast and germs sitting right there on the surface. For a small angry patch, that alone can be the difference between a dog who claws at their skin all night and a dog who finally settles down. Now, if the main problem is that corn chip smell coming from the paws and the ears, we are going to change the chemistry of the skin itself because yeast simply cannot survive in an acidic environment. Reach for raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. In a small tub or container, mix 1 part apple cider vinegar with 2 parts warm water. Never use it straight from the bottle. Stand your dog in the mixture so it covers between the toes, and let them soak for about 5 minutes. The acid gently shifts the skin to a slightly acidic state that yeast simply cannot tolerate, so it begins killing the yeast on the surface and washing away the irritating buildup that has been driving the itch. But hear this warning very carefully, because it matters. Do not use apple cider vinegar if your dog has chewed their paws until they are raw, open, or bleeding. Vinegar is an acid, and on an open wound it will sting terribly. Only ever use this on skin that is intact, smelly, and itchy. And here is the step most people forget. When the soak is done, you must dry those paws completely with a towel and a cool hairdryer if your dog tolerates it. Yeast loves moisture, so if you leave the paws damp, it comes right back. If your dog is not itchy in one spot but everywhere, red and flaky all over from rolling in the grass, do not run out and buy an expensive medicated shampoo. Go to your pantry and grab plain, unsweetened breakfast oats. Pour a cup into a blender and grind them into a fine, soft powder. This is what we call colloidal oatmeal. Now draw a bath, and here's the critical secret. The water must be lukewarm to cool, never hot. Heat pulls blood to the surface and makes the inflammation far worse. Stir your oatmeal powder into the water until it turns milky. Place your dog in, and pour that soothing water over their whole body for a solid 10 minutes. The oatmeal forms a gentle film that draws the heat and the inflammation right out of the skin. When you lift them out, pat them dry. Do not rub. And you will finally have a calm, comfortable dog who can rest. Now that the skin is calmed, we get to the part that actually stops this for good, healing the gut so the yeast loses its grip. And the first rule of the internal fix is simple. We have to starve the yeast. That means cutting back on the sugar and the heavy starches feeding it. If you are pouring a cheap kibble where the very first ingredient is corn or wheat, that is the first thing to change. Look for a food where real, named meat sits at the top of the ingredient list, with far fewer starchy fillers underneath. And if you are able to, adding some gently cooked whole food to their bowl, plain meat, a little pumpkin, some leafy greens, gives the yeast far less fuel and gives the body real nourishment instead. The second rule of the internal fix is that we have to rebuild the good army in the gut, because right now the bad yeast is winning the war. This is where probiotics come in. The easiest, most affordable way to start is a spoonful of plain, unsweetened kefir or plain yogurt mixed into dinner. These are loaded with friendly bacteria that crowd out the bad yeast, calm the inflamed gut lining, and settle down that overreacting immune system. Think of it like sending fresh reinforcements into a battle your dog has been slowly losing. The friendly bacteria move in, take up space, and starve out the troublemakers. And as that gut lining heals, the immune system finally gets to stop firing at every speck of pollen in the air. But I have to give you a serious warning here, and it could save your dog's life. Before you buy any yogurt or kefir, flip it over and read the label. You are hunting for one deadly ingredient called xylitol, sometimes hidden under the name birch sugar. It is an artificial sweetener in many sugar-free products, and even a tiny amount can cause a dog's liver to fail. Only ever buy 100% plain, unsweetened dairy with no artificial sweeteners of any kind. If your dog does not handle dairy well, no problem. You can use a good quality pet-specific probiotic powder instead and simply sprinkle a scoop over their food. The final piece of the internal fix is building strong, healthy skin from within, because a well-built skin barrier is far harder for irritation to break through. And if this is helping you, please drop a like on this video right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach and protect more dogs who are suffering the exact same way tonight. Every few weeks your dog replaces the outer layer of their skin, which means every few weeks you get a fresh chance to rebuild it stronger. And skin is built from healthy fats. The catch is that the fats inside an open bag of kibble go stale and useless within days of air hitting them, so we add fresh ones. My favorite cheap option is a can of plain sardines packed in water with no added salt. Mash one small sardine into their food a couple of times a week for a powerful dose of omega-3s. If your dog turns up their nose at fish, a plain cooked egg works beautifully, or a splash of homemade unsalted bone broth poured over the kibble. One quick warning though, never use store-bought human bone broth from the soup aisle, because it is loaded with onion and garlic, both of which are toxic to dogs. Just simmer some plain chicken or beef bones in water at home instead. It is cheap, safe, and wonderful for the coat. Now I know that was a lot, and I can already picture you looking at your kitchen wondering how on earth you're going to fit all of this into one little bowl tomorrow morning. So take a deep breath, because here is the golden rule. You do not do all of this at once. If you dump 7 brand new rich ingredients into your dog's bowl tonight, I promise you will be cleaning up an unpleasant mess at 3 in the morning. The whole philosophy here is rotation. You would not eat the exact same thing every single day, and neither should your dog. So keep it simple. Each day, pull out a little less kibble to make room, and add just a few things. Pick one thing that soothes and builds the skin, like a mashed sardine or a cooked egg. Pick one thing that heals the gut, like a spoonful of plain kefir or yogurt. That is it. Rotate those simple, cheap kitchen items through the week. It takes about 10 extra seconds a day. And if you stay consistent, you will calm the skin, you will rebuild the gut, and you will watch that miserable scratching dog slowly start to thrive again. And that steady, natural care is exactly how you keep them out of the vet's office for the same problem over and over. Dealing with a dog who scratches all night is one of the hardest, most helpless feelings there is. But the simple fact that you are here, learning the real reason instead of just masking it, tells me everything I need to know about the kind of pet parent you are. You are looking past the symptom to heal the whole animal, and that is real love. Now, of course, if your dog's skin is severely infected, bleeding, or getting rapidly worse, please do see your vet in person because some cases truly do need professional care to get started. These natural steps are how you calm things down and keep them from coming back. So if this masterclass gave you real hope today, do me one small favor and tap that like button, and make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell on so you never miss one of these deep dives into your dog's health. It truly helps this channel reach and protect so many more suffering dogs. Then leave me a comment down below and tell me this. When you smelled your dog's paws, did you catch that corn chip smell? And which one of these simple kitchen fixes are you going to put in the bowl tomorrow morning? I read as many comments as I possibly can, and I truly love hearing your stories. For tonight, go give your sweet, beautiful dog a gentle, itch-free scratch behind the ears. Stay safe, trust your instincts, and I will see you in the next one.